Hello, class. My name is Janelle Green, and it's been a pleasure to have shared a space with each of you for this semester. Um, how many of you feel like this is incredibly awkward? I can't help but feel that way. Please excuse me, I've prepared a few bullet points in case I go off subject and I need a little help along the way. So how many of you knew that 35% of our communication is verbal, whereas the other 65% is considered nonverbal? Now, by nonverbal, that is with the use of your body language, so how your posture is, your tone of voice, um, eye contact, your movements overall, your facial expressions, which you'll notice I do a lot of, um, and of course, our favorite, gestures. Typically used with our hands, but however, the overall picture is body language. And one thing I found very interesting about this course was the portion that talked about gestures and more specifically culture and cultural differences. I've spent a lot of time traveling, and that's kind of my number one passion, if you will. And I've definitely learned that there are certain things you should do, and most things you should never ever do. Um, as a rule of thumb, do your little due diligence homework before traveling to different countries. There was an example of President Bush when he was the reigning president at the time, and I believe it was Australia he visited, and at the end of his visit, he did one of these. Well, actually, he did this. And in the U.S., kind of universally, even in places like Japan, this is a symbol for peace. We all love it. However, when you do this in Australia, that simply means screw you. Yikes, President Bush. Very, very, very shamefully embarrassing faux pas that I'm sure took a while to recover from. However, we live and we learn. So that's just one example of lessons that we can learn from different body gestures. And I hope I never ever do that. So, anyways, moving on. The thumbs up. We're all familiar. In the US, that typically means great job, way to go, yes, you're awesome, so proud of you, thank you for letting me pass you in the driveway. I mean, it can mean almost anything. Um, and typically that translates into places in Europe as well. They're kind of more lax when it comes to the gestures. However, in the Islamic and Asian countries, it's definitely considered rude. This is rude. Now, this is always rude. I don't care who you are. This is rude. But this, come on, guys. Cultural differences. So, rule of thumb. Ooh, bad joke. Bad, bad joke. Don't do this in Islamic or Asian countries. In West Africa as well, and parts of South America, and also the Middle East, it's a slang term. And in Germany, for those of you global negotiators to be, it's the sign for number one, um, which is, I found that to be kind of interesting because when I think of counting, I automatically go one, two, three, you know, but one. So when it is. Um, Also, when you're doing this in an upward motion, upward, downward, it's another one of those terms that I already mentioned about President Bush, you know, the yikes term, um, also translated to sit on this. So we'll be careful where and when we use that, if we ever use it. Okay, moving on. So this, you are A-okay. I think I do this kind of often. Like, I don't know. I'm learning French now, and I find myself often speaking with my hands. So, very interesting. My mom's Italian, so she's constantly with her hands as well. So maybe it's a learned behavior passed through the generations. I'm not sure. So in the UK, the US, um, it's a sign for, you're okay. It's all good. In France and Belgium, it means zero, zilch, nada, you're worthless. So that's not a good sign. Also, Turkey, Brazil, Germany, Russia, it's considered slang, and it's used, sorry, professor, as a private body part. Also in sign language, a bad word. Yeah, it's a bad word. However, recovering from that, in Japan, this means money. And we all love money. I never heard of this, I guess, term, if you will, the corna. I've always known it as rock on, man, yeah. Also, for all you Texas Longhorn fans, you're very familiar with this. So, actually, in Buddhism and Hinduism, which I really love, it's used to dispel evil, and they call it the Karana Madura, I believe. Sorry for anyone listening if I messed that up and tortured it, but this is good. So I kind of like took that like in the Middle East when they wear the evil eye or the hand of Fatima. It's kind of like to ward off evil spirits. So this, that's good in my book. In the Mediterranean, however, it simply means your wife is cheating on you. I don't know where this and your wife is cheating go together, but hey, apparently in the Mediterranean they do. So, learn something new every day. We're all familiar with this. Some people do it like this. Some people do it like this. This simply means come here and come here now, aka the dog call. So, in the U.S., we see it all the time. I see parents talking to their children. Come here, get over here, however it may be. In the Philippines, however, which I am Filipino, so I can appreciate this, and in most Asian countries, it's literally the way you call a dog. And I guess it's shunned upon so much. I'm not sure how legitimate this fact is, but I did read in 3 different articles that you can actually be put in prison for doing this to somebody. So, watch your fingers in the Philippines. Gets a little crazy, I'm just saying. Also in Slovakia, China, Malaysia, and Singapore, it's obviously a rude gesture. I think overall this is kind of rude. I mean, it's kind of scolding, or I don't know. I don't like this one. What about you guys? Maybe it's just me. Here I am talking to myself. This is awkward. Okay, so the proper way in Europe, according to them, and Asia, is to face the palm of your hand downward, and you move your fingers like this. La-di-da. That is what you call, come here, please. Come here, quickly. And it's funny because actually my French instructor, she does that. She waves like this, too. Who would have thunk? Never knew. So I guess that's the proper way in those countries. So if you're planning to pack your suitcase and get on an airplane and visit. You can get off the plane like this. Um, Japan. Oh, I need to back up. In Japan, the thumbs up means the number 5. So going back to all you global negotiators in the making, this is 5. Turkey, it's 1. Japan, 5. America, thumbs up. So you're at that really important business meeting. All of a sudden you throw them the thumbs up and you tell them it's a money deal, and they think that equates to 5 million. Hey, I put the million on, but I'm sure if you're going over there, it's for millions. So be careful when you throw this if you really mean this or this in the U.S. Big, big difference. Well, I think that concludes my rendezvous ramble of hand gestures. I will say, just as a rule of thumb or just a case in point, to be very cautious of how we gesture and how we come off to others. I should be telling myself this. Part of, my biggest learning curve comes with talking with my hands and playing with my hair. I do that out of nervousness, only when I'm in a spotlight situation, like right now. I feel kind of awkward. But nonetheless, I appreciated reading your post and learning about each of you. It has been one of those semesters. I am glad it's over, but I'm also sad that this year is ending and, new chapters and new beginnings. So good luck to each of you. I wish you nothing but the best in all of your future endeavors. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. So thank you.